Alright, hello fellow YouTubians. My name's Terry Andrews Jr., also known as the J5 Guru. Hello. So yeah, this is a follow-up to the recent issue problem I had with the my CNC machine, and I just wanted to kind of give you an update and a rundown and kind of wrap this all up in a nice little bow. So this is my PC that I use to run the my CNC machine. It's running Windows 7. This is the new power supply, the Meanwell power supply. And in here is my Ethernet smooth stepper. So let me give you kind of a rundown here. So my PC, my monitor for the CNC, and the Ethernet smooth stepper all run off of, this, they run off of their own branch circuit, okay? And it's running through a surge protector here. And the, you can see the green light, the protection's working. So I have that running there. On a completely separate circuit, I have the power supply running. Okay, this is 48 volt. This puts out 12 and a half amps of current, and it will draw up to 12 amps of current from the wall outlet. Okay, so each one of these is on its own 20 amp branch circuit. So I actually need 3 branch circuits because my computer and the Ethernet smooth stepper, I would say conservatively, is probably drawing 5 amps of current from the wall outlet. We already know that the power supply itself can draw up to 12 amps of current from the wall outlet. So there, you're talking 17 amps of current, potential that could be drawn from a wall outlet. Plus, I want the computer and all of the software. I don't want these on a noisy line. I don't want them hooked up to like where the router is, because that could introduce some sort of spikes or problems into the system. So I keep the computer and the Ethernet smooth stepper on its own branch circuit. The 48 volt power supply on its own branch circuit. All of these fans are blowing out. I will turn on the fan in this power supply. The Meanwell power supply is loud. I'll turn it on right now. Oops. Yeah, but it blows a tremendous amount of air through there. So, and all of my airflow is blowing out because it's next to the door to my CNC room, and I don't want a chance of when I'm going in and out of the room any any particulate matter being sucked into the computer. So all these fans are blowing out. The air intake is up here on the front of the computer case and on the side here. And then the router itself is on its own circuit because this can draw up to 12 amps of current. If this thing focuses, which it probably won't because it's my phone. But yeah, it draws up to 12 amps of current. So I just got done running the machine. I ran this part and had one of those oh crap moments when you realize it starts doing a hole to a larger diameter than you know it's supposed to be. And that was my screw up. When I converted from the SolidWorks file to the DXF, these are supposed to be countersunk, and I made the holes 250 instead of 201 like they should have been. So no harm, no foul. Hey man, just rerun it. Just make the corrections, rerun the part, and good to go. My machine, I have to run it very conservatively because the router does not have a lot of power. I'm only using a single flute high helix 0.125 or 1/8 inch end mill in here, and it really struggles if you try to take too much material at a time, so I only remove 10 thousandths material per pass. And my maximum feed rates are, 20 inches per minute. So a part like this right here, yeah, that takes a while, an hour and 19 minutes. It is what it is. Now I do a pocketing operation here, so I don't have to come in here and cut tabs, have two different sets of code. It's okay. Hey man, let the machine do the work. Big shout out to Ed Reese at NYC CNC. He turned me on to these hex wrench set from Wera. I love these things. I reached out to him and said, hey man, what do you use? And, because I had seen these things laying on the bench or whatever during some of the videos that NYC CNC does. And he's like, yeah, these are it. These are the ones. And he's like, I love them. And he said, yeah, he's like, they've stood up to his abuse. So, yeah, got a set and I love them. Another thing I'd like to mention, if you're running a router, okay, on a CNC machine and you are cutting metal, for God's sake, you better not be using the standard collet set that comes with your router. For a long time, I couldn't figure out why I was burning up router bearings. When I'd get done running my machine and I'd shut it off immediately, I'd go and grab this and it would just be like hot. I mean, super hot. Okay? And it turns out these things are okay for woodworking, but quite honestly, when you're doing a rigid material like aluminum, you will burn up bearings, you will get horrible finishes, you won't be able to maintain your tolerances, your run out will be absolutely terrible. So what I did is I found a place, and I'm going to give them a plug here, Precision Bits, PrecisionBits.com. They sell high quality, and in here they also go by Think and Tinker, but they're made in the the USA. Quality, collet nuts and collets, and yep, it's worth the money. You get, I run this thing wide open. People have asked, no coolant, no lubricant, run it wide open because you want that airflow to blow those chips out of the way. And at the feed rates and the depths of cut that I'm doing, it produces very fine, material. You can see it. It's all over the place. But, yeah, it works good for me. But, yeah, again, so Think and Tinker, PrecisionBits.com. Yeah. I give them a plug because, man, hey, I bought it, couldn't figure out, and he worked with me. And he's like, I know exactly why you're burning bearings up in your router. He said it's because of the collet. I've changed to these collets and haven't had a problem since. The thing, when you shut it off, you grab the collet nut, it's just mildly warm, not, and yeah. So that was the whole problem I was having. So there we go, folks. Yeah, the new power supply is working great. I did not burn up anything else, thank God. I got the power supply. I trimmed it out to exactly 48 volts. And, yep, everything's working great. So thanks, everybody, for your comments, your suggestions, your support. Really appreciate it. Even had one individual that was willing to send me a power supply they had laying around, was no longer using a Meanwell power supply. Thank you for that, but I had to get this thing back up and running quick, and so I just ordered one on Amazon. It was here. I ordered it on a Sunday. It got here Tuesday morning. So yeah. And I should mention here, so I'm running the power supply wires through the wall. These are 10 gauge wires for the power supply. Everything sneaks through the wall. I was a little bit worried about the possible noise or RF that might be generated with all this wiring and be induced into the printer cable here, the LPT input. As you can see, the swarf gets everywhere. Oh, that is something else I did decide to do. Underneath all that swarf is a Gecko Drive 540. Before I had this open and had a fan in there for cooling. I've now sealed this whole thing off. I went through their technical data sheets, and with this being a large aluminum case, it sort of acts as a big heat sink. It shouldn't overheat. I haven't had any problems so far. So I just sealed it up rather than getting this super fine, aluminum swarf sucked into here and possibly creating a problem. So in my CNC room, my outlets are actually set up so that this outlet here and this outlet on the other side share one 20 amp circuit, because I use this one also for running my ventilation system in the summer. Can't run it now, it's too darn cold out. And then I have the outlet over here, so this would be my south, my north-south outlets. They are on their own outlet, and my east-west outlets, my west outlets, they are on their own 20 amp branch circuit. My lights are on their own branch circuit. Of course, smoke alarm, as I've outlined before. Sometimes in the summer, I'll do welding in here, or painting, or grinding. I have here on the door, I can close this door, and I can, whoops, if I move my stool out of the way here, I got this fold out, there we go. That fold out workbench, I can throw a grinder on here, I can grind, I can weld in here, I have a welding table I bring in. And of course, since space is always at a premium, I have to conjure up little workarounds like that. For some of you that haven't seen, on the other side of the door, I actually got the same setup for my radio arm saw. This is actually Evolution. This will actually cut steel, aluminum. I love it. Cuts wood, can cut through nails. Yeah, I love that thing. It takes me like 30 seconds from fold away to having it up and I can use it. 30 seconds maximum. So that's kind of my setup. Of course, fire extinguisher. Safety first, man. But so there we go, folks. Again, thanks for your support. I'll turn this around and so you can see it's actually me. There we go. High quality production value here. So thank you for your support, your comments, your suggestions. They all help, and hopefully some of this information helps some of you people out there out. All right, that's about it. J5 Guru, Terry Andrews Jr. saying bye for now. And the monkey pushes the button.